A couple made arrangements to visit their financial advisor, and they were excited because after years and decades of working, they were getting ready to retire. They had all of these ideas in their mind about what they'd be able to do now that they no longer had to go to work every day. And as they sat down with their advisor and the advisor began to run the numbers, the advisor delivered to them some surprising news. They had not saved enough to be able to accomplish the things they wanted to when they stopped working. They didn't even have enough money to create the income that they desired to have when they no longer received a paycheck. Now, how did this happen? Where did they go wrong? Really, the question that we have to ask ourselves as we plan for retirement is how much is enough? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the answer to that question. Let's get started. So if you don't know who I am already, my name is Jason Canady. I am the founder of the Canady Financial Group. And for over a decade, we have been working with educators and medical professionals to help create better financial outcomes. One of the ways we show our commitment to that goal is by regularly publishing content like this. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe. That way you'll be notified whenever we produce a new video. Now, going back to that question that we just asked, AARP and Merrill Lynch both recently published reports stating that we should be trying to replace anywhere between 70 to 80% of our current income. That means that by the time we get to retirement, our pensions, our Social Security, any rental income or other sources of income we have, combined with the money we have saved on our own, needs to be cobbled together to produce 70 to 80% of our current income. And so how does a person measure themselves? How do you know if you're on track to achieve that actual goal right now? Well, I came across this report from Fidelity that gave us some benchmarks that we can use to measure our progress toward this goal of replacing 70 to 80% of our income. I'll share that report with you, and I'll also include a link of it in the show notes of this video. Now, here's what the article said. It said that by the age of 30, if your goal is to replace 70 to 80% of your income when you retire, by the age of 30, you should try to have saved 1 year's worth of your salary. By the age of 40, you should try to have 3 times your salary saved. By the age of 50, you should try to have 6 times your salary saved. By the age of 60, you should try to have 8 times your salary saved. And by the age of 65 or 67, you should try to have 10 times your salary saved. Now, what this report is basically saying is that if you reach that particular goal, that combined with your Social Security should be just about enough to replace conservatively 70 to 80% of your income. Now, let's look at an example. We're going to use a married couple who currently makes about $150,000 a year. They make that together. And their goal is to try to replace 70 to 80% of their income by the time that they retire. Now, I don't want you to get caught up in the numbers. Your desire may be different from theirs. You may not desire the same level of income, or you may desire more income than they desire to have. Don't get caught up in the numbers. We're simply taking the study that was published in this Fidelity article and we're putting numbers to it so that you can see how it works. So if this couple had the goal of trying to replace 70% of their income, what they would want to try to do is they would want to try to have 1 year's worth of their salary saved by the age of 30. They'd want to have 3 times their salary saved by the age of 40, which would be 450,000. By the age of 50, they would want to have 900,000 saved. By the age of 60, they want to have 1.2 million saved. And by the age of 65 or 67, they'd want to have 1.5 million saved. Now, do you see how this gives them a way to see where they are as they go throughout time? See, they can check in at the age of 40, for example, and see if they're on pace to reach their goal. Now, If they get to age 65 with this 1.5 million, they can safely generate about $60,000. Now, if you're wondering how I'm arriving at that number, I'm just simply using the 4% rule. We're trying to keep it simple. If you want to know what the 4% rule is, I included a link to an article that I published that explains in more detail why that rule is significant. But we can safely generate about $60,000 from this 1.5 million. This husband and wife are estimated to have from Social Security about $53,000 combined. So if you take the 60,000, you add it to the 53,000, this means that they'll have an income in retirement projecting $113,000 a year. Now, if you figure out 150,000 and you calculate 70 to 80% of that, this 113,000 is going to fall right in between 70 and 80%. So they were able to measure themselves throughout time to see if they were on pace. And when they got to retirement, their personal savings, as well as their Social Security together, was able to generate the income that they needed. Now, all of these numbers, they assume that you want to replace 70 to 80% of your income. Here's what we know. We know that there are going to be some who are not going to want to replace that much of their income. They're perfectly fine simplifying and living on less income. And there are going to be others who are going to look at this and they're going to want more income in retirement than they do now. See, either way, the point is that this whole video is designed to encourage you to start planning now. See, don't be like the couple that we mentioned at the outset of our video who waited until just a year or two before they were about to retire to find out if they had enough. See, at that point, there's not much you can do. See, you can either work longer or you can severely downsize to match what you've currently saved. Instead of waiting until the last minute, determine the income that you're going to need when you stop working. Number two, determine the savings rate you need to get to that income. And then number three, here's the most important thing, start right now. Don't wait. Don't put it off any longer. Start saving now so that you can give yourself the time you need to save up enough to replace your income. Even if you're behind, don't panic. Just start doing what you can to save. If you do that, you put yourself in a far better position to have enough money to retire. If you need my help planning, if you want to learn about different ways to grow your money, especially if you want to learn how not to take on as much risk while achieving the same growth rate as those who do, subscribe to this channel, schedule an appointment to meet with me. I'm happy to chat with you and share with you some of the ideas and concepts we're using to help people grow the money that they're saving for retirement. If you appreciated this video, give us a like, subscribe to our channel so that you're notified the next time we produce a video. And until the next time we talk, take care.